Hey guys, welcome to the Meet Damien live stream. I am Damien, and today's live stream I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin like we normally do in the beginning of the live stream here. And then we'll talk about your requests and your altcoins. But, wow, what an interesting night we had for Bitcoin last night, where we saw Bitcoin get almost as close to like $107,000 here. Let me just turn the volume down here on my end for the music. And then we saw Bitcoin get up to like what, $109,000 all in like the span of a few hours. It kind of got a little bit crazy out there. All right, as I start to zoom in here on the chart, we're looking at Bitcoin currently right now at 108,950. Earlier this morning, in the morning hours, while some of you guys were sleeping, we saw Bitcoin almost get up to like $110,000 here. Okay. Let me go into the 1 hour time frame so you guys can see kind of like the craziness that we've had over the past few hours. I identified here with Bitcoin that we're in a broadening wedge, okay? And this wedge pattern here is taking out both the stops for the shorts as well as the stops for the longs here, and making things a little bit difficult and more volatile here for Bitcoin and crypto. At least if you're, trading Bitcoin like I was trading last night. It's a little bit volatile out there for Bitcoin, and they are coming for people's stop losses here, or at least that's what it feels like. Okay, but really what the broadening wedge is just signifying is that there's a lot of volatility out here, and there's buyers that are showing up to the plate here. They're liking where the prices are at. And this broadening wedge usually occurs after significant price action. Like we already had a significant price drop here on Bitcoin compared to where we were on Thursday when we saw Bitcoin at $113,000, and then we dropped down to $108,000 in short order here. And we're trying to find where buyers and traders, longs and shorts are trying to settle up here around the 107K to 109K, 110K area. There's a lot of volatility here. But what this pattern signifies, according to Investopedia, is that there could be a trend reversal. So maybe we might actually see Bitcoin stop going down like it has been doing for a while now here, okay? You can see that I also drew out this parallel channel here, this descending channel that we've been in on Bitcoin ever since like the middle of August here, okay? We've been, ping-ponging back and forth, but, over time here, we've been actually coming down in price, okay? This broadening wedge here at the 108K level for Bitcoin, it could be signifying that, Bitcoin might be trying to find some support here at 108K, and we might actually be done with going down in price here on Bitcoin. I don't know. That's I'll show to you guys here what Investopedia has to say about broadening wedges here. Okay, so you can kind of understand. We'll do a little bit of schooling here today about what broadening wedges are like. Okay. It says that a broadening formation is a price chart pattern identified by technical analysis. It's characterized by increased price volatility and diagrammed as two diverging trend lines, one rising and one falling. It usually occurs after a significant rise or fall in the action of security prices. It is identified on a chart by a series of higher pivot points and lower pivot points. So we've already seen that significant, in this case, we saw a significant fall in the price of Bitcoin, okay? And this is just showing that, that we are getting increased volatility, okay? Longs and shorts are getting taken out in both directions here, all right? You can still play this, though. You can still, buy the low and sell the top if you can, and then come back, enter a short, and then try to buy back in again at lower prices, only for you to then reverse and then try to sell the top again. Okay, that's one way to play the broadening wedge here. But one of the key takeaways here is that a broadening formation is a technical chart pattern depicting a widening channel of high and low levels of support and resistance. Broad informations indicate increased price volatility. Swing traders can capitalize on the oscillations contained within the broadening formation, which I just kind of try to explain that you guys can still buy the, the lows and sell the top here on the broadening formation here for Bitcoin. Okay, let me just turn the music down a little bit here on my end. If you guys are interested in the music, we do have this music is coming from Solomus Synthetica, and they have this one video here. It's like a 6-hour video, but it's like 6 hours of this music. You can find, just type in Nexus, Secrets Beneath the Neon Sky, a dark engulf synthwave mix, and you'll get the same kind of music. If you enjoy the music here, this is where you can find it on YouTube, okay? Alright, going back to the charts here, okay, for Bitcoin. So we now kind of understand a broadening wedge usually occurs after a significant fall in price, okay? In this case, sometimes it could happen in a significant rise in price, but what we've seen here with Bitcoin, we've obviously had a fall in price here. And the buyers are just, in my opinion, they're just starting to show up here. Okay, let me go into the daily time frame here so you guys can see the key levels that we got to look for here on Bitcoin. So we've come down, obviously, on Bitcoin. We all know that. And there's a key level here at the 0.382 on the Fibonacci where Bitcoin is trying to get support at $107,798 here, okay, according to this Fibonacci here, okay, that I drew. And also you can see that this level is a price level that Bitcoin was trading at back here in June, and also back here in May. So the people that bought here in May and June, right, they're now just back at break even. They're not going to click the sell button like some people who might have bought Bitcoin in July. They got a little bit afraid of Bitcoin coming down in price here, and they probably already sold their Bitcoin, okay? If they bought at like $118,000 Bitcoin and now they see it at 108, they might have got a little bit scared and they might have clicked the sell button. And yeah, now we have people who bought Bitcoin in June and May. They're not scared yet. So they're not going to click the sell button. So the short sellers, the bears, are having a tough time pushing the price of Bitcoin down right now, okay? At least right now, okay? Things could change like a week or two later, okay? As we start, getting more data here and seeing how Bitcoin is going to handle itself at this price level. I'm expecting Bitcoin probably to go sideways for now and be a little bit frustrating. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin just trades sideways going into the rest of the week here until we get the Friday jobs report, which will tell us how the economy is doing in the United States, if we're getting jobs or losing jobs here. And I think Friday will be when we have more significant price action where, either the jobs report is going to cause the price of Bitcoin to jump up in price, or it's going to cause it to jump or drop down in price. But I think, over the next few days here, in my opinion, we're probably going to go sideways. And as we go sideways, we'll still be in this descending channel here on Bitcoin. But if we continue going sideways, we'll be out of the descending channel. And then this will no longer be in play anymore. And you can't really use this falling descending channel as a way to play Bitcoin, okay? We'll have to see what Bitcoin's doing after that. But I'm expecting Bitcoin probably go sideways for the next few days here, as we get buyers that are stepping to the plate here at $107,000, and the sellers start to become more exhausted because they're not able to push the price of Bitcoin down any further. I think we're gonna go sideways, in my opinion. Just my opinion, though. But, you guys, let me know in the comments here and in the live chat if you think price of Bitcoin is going to continue dropping, or if we're going to just violently go up to the upside here. But I'm just checking out the chat right now. Let me just double check to make sure I turn the mic on, right? Let me know in the comments. Okay, yep, I can hear myself. All right, good, very good. I turned the mic on. Good job, Damien. All right. Let's also take a look at some moving average supports here. See if there's any support on the moving averages. I'm going to turn the moving averages on now. So we got some more rainbow colors on the chart now. But probably one of the most important moving averages is that 200-day moving average sitting below us at $101,300 here. That should be a good support area if Bitcoin continues dropping down to lower prices here. We also got this blue line here, this light blue line. That's the 100-day moving average on my chart, and that's sitting at 105,953. Okay, that should provide support. And then also, if you're a Fibonacci guy like myself, you're probably looking at the 0.236 level here at $104,000 Bitcoin. Should also provide support. So I think, Bitcoin is going to get a lot more support if it does go down to lower prices here. You'll get some support between $101,000 to like $105,000 Bitcoin. And it's going to be tough for the short sellers and the bears to push the price further down, because I'm expecting a reaction off of these moving averages if we do come down to these moving averages, where, some buyers are going to step in and say, hey, you know what? I think I like the price of Bitcoin at $104,000 because I think I can sell it later on for $200,000. Maybe later on this year, next year, or whenever they plan on selling their Bitcoin. But I think there are going to be some people who are going to get excited again that Bitcoin's at $100,000 or in the low $100,000 area, and they'll just take a chance on Bitcoin, and it's going to hurt the bears who are trying to push the price down to lower prices here. I think it's going to get tougher for them to try to push the price down. It's not going to be as easy as it was when Bitcoin was at 124K. Yeah, that was a good time to start shorting Bitcoin if you were inclined to do so. But now it's going to get a little bit tougher for the bears to push the price down, which is going to be, some welcoming relief for the longs out there, and for those who are invested in Bitcoin to see Bitcoin stop going down in price. That would be a very welcoming sight for the bulls and for the longs out there. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. I see a few people joining here. Okay. If you guys have any altcoins you want me to take a look at, you can put those requests in now. I plan on being live for like another 2 hours here. So we got the time to look at any crypto. And if you guys want to look at stocks, we can look at stocks too. I'm not just a one-trick pony. I can use this technical analysis on any asset here, including stocks. And we could also talk about commodities too if you guys are trading gold or silver or oil. Yeah, but yeah, I did title the video crypto live stream, and I did title it on YouTube that Bitcoin is going through some turbulent markets. So, and I know Bitcoin is just fun to talk about, so yeah, we could definitely talk about crypto as well. I see Kami's in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing? You want to take a look at Hemi? All right, I'll write that down. And then we got Richard asking about Sui. All right, so we got some requests coming in. Appreciate you guys putting in the requests. And yeah, don't forget to hit the like button if you guys haven't already. Let's try to let YouTube and TikTok know that we got a good stream going on here, looking at the charts and analyzing the charts here. But yeah, just wrapping things up here on Bitcoin. I think we're starting to come into some support levels here, but it's getting a little bit volatile on the 1 hour time frame. Because we might actually be getting a trend reversal, and Bitcoin might actually get a bounce later on this week, or even later on today, maybe. And if we do bounce up to higher prices here, I would expect Bitcoin probably to get rejected by that green line here, the 50-day moving average at 111,700. Okay, that could be resistance for those who are using moving averages here. And also for the Fibonacci guys, it would be pleasantly surprising to see Bitcoin get back up to 113, 114K. But if it does, there could be some resistance at that area, because that is the 618 golden pocket retracement level. So yeah, I think if you see Bitcoin going up to like 111 to 113K, and you're day trading, swing trading, might be a good time to click the sell button, cash out on some profits on your longs, and maybe take the reverse of the trade and try to do a short on Bitcoin if you if you want to day trade Bitcoin. I think 113, 114K might be a good area to sell and close out your longs, and then also try to maybe go short on Bitcoin if we're at 114K. All right, let's move on to, we'll take a look at Hemi, and yeah, then we'll look at the Sui after that. Hemi, looks like that we can find that here on Binance Exchange. Okay, Just let me go ahead and click on that. All right. Heme. Looks like it's a brand new crypto here. I don't have that much data to go off of. Currently trading at 3 cents. And that's crazy because usually Binance is one of the first exchanges to get a new cryptocurrency. So this thing looks like it's brand spanking new. I don't really have that much. I don't know what I can do with this chart here for you. There's not much data. I mean, this thing came out Friday, August 29th. You had, you know, the lowest low here at a penny and a half roughly on Saturday. And then we had a violent move up on Sunday here where we went up 68%. And there's not much I can do. I don't have any oscillators. There's nothing here on the oscillators. I can't look at the oscillators. All I can do is a Fibonacci. And that's it. I mean, all I can do is just draw from top to bottom here. And I can tell you that the 618 is a level to look out for at 2.5 cents here. But it looks like you already came down to that probably earlier this morning here on Monday. You came down to 2.5 cents. So you already hit your retracement, your golden pocket retracement. And if this thing's going to continue being bullish and go to the upside here, then you got the 1272 fib extension level here at almost 4 cents, 0.038 pennies. And then you got the 1618 saying that this thing could get above 4 pennies, about roughly 0.043 pennies if these Fibonacci levels get respected here. Okay. So I think, yeah, downside target, you already hit your downside target at 2.5 pennies. Upside target, you could see this thing go up to 4 pennies. Okay. All right. Moving on from Heme, we're going to take a look at Sui. I guess I could turn the music up on my end a little bit. I do like listening to some of the music here. All right, so we're looking at Sui currently trading at $3.21, down 0.97% today. Sui is just a very interesting chart right now because what I see here with Sui, let me just give you the moving averages for now. Like, this thing runs. Whenever it gets a chance to run, it will run, make a lot of money in a short amount of time for a lot of people. And then it flags out, and then it runs, and then it flags out. But then the flag is just like, ugh. Like, you know, lower highs, lower lows. Taking out all the people who bought here, their stop losses. And then, yeah. Then you know, life gets breathed back into Sui again. And it runs again, like, you know, gets very bullish, you know, in a short amount of time. And then it starts flagging out, and it does this descending, falling wedge, which is still bullish, right? A falling wedge, you know. Let me just try to draw this out here. If this is a falling wedge for Sui, then it is a bullish pattern because it usually breaks out to the upside after it's done falling, okay? So if this is the falling wedge, then I would expect, you know, Sui probably, you know, I don't know, maybe we get a jobs report on Friday here that gets the markets excited and money just pours into Sui again, and then we just violently go up like we did here back in the middle of July, and also back here in like the beginning of May and end of April. Maybe that's where we get this falling wedge breakout violently to the upside, and we could see a $4 Sui in no time here. Okay. But the falling wedge, you know, there's no guarantee that it's going to break out to the upside. It could just go to the downside here, or it could actually just trade sideways and just frustrate the hell out of everybody that's long and shorting Sui. Okay. Let me pull out some Fibonacci here. And actually, before I do that, let me look at the moving averages, see what the moving averages are doing. We do have moving average support here. The 200-day moving average, I see that red line is sitting at $3.13. We came almost right down to that today. $3.14 is how low Sui got on Coinbase Exchange here. So the moving average support is still in play here. Those who are trading using just the moving averages, they're deciding to defend Sui at $3.13, $3.14. Okay, I'm not sure if you know, Sui's gonna go lower than that, but if it does, then, you know, then it would be below the 200-day moving average. And if it goes below the 200-day moving average, you know my opinion about that. When an asset goes below the 200-day moving average, you have to be bearishly biased. Okay, but uh, so with Sui being one of the larger market cap coins out there, with a lot of you know, people getting behind it and violently pushing up to higher prices whenever they can, I'm expecting the Sui longs, the Sui bulls, to try to defend the 200-day moving average here. If Sui loses the 200-day moving average, there's probably something wrong with crypto in general. Probably something wrong with Bitcoin as well. And you know, and yeah, probably I wouldn't just say there's something wrong with Sui. There might be something wrong with the whole altcoin market, cryptocurrency world here, because this is one of the popular altcoins here that likes to move up to the upside very quickly whenever it gets a chance to do so. Okay, so you could be buying the lows and Sui, and you could get this falling wedge breaking out to the upside later on this week or later on this month here for Sui. You know, just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, if Sui does lose this 200-day moving average, you know, then we have to start saying, like, you know, is Sui gonna make lower lows for the year? Are we gonna go below the low here in June when we saw Sui at $2.29? Let me just draw out the Fibonacci now here. Now that I you know, gave a good explanation about the moving averages and how much support Sui has as an altcoin here. But yeah, if Sui does continue going down to lower prices, there is a 0.236 retracement. Sui could magically get some support here at $2.82, which is confluent with where Sui was at back here in July, the beginning of July, around like 4th of July. You had Sui trading at $2.80 and $2.70. So the people here, they're just going to be at break even again. And they're not going to click the sell button unless Sui goes below $2.80 here. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, if Sui does start to violently go up to the upside, we might actually get rejected at this golden pocket at $3.60. Okay? Just be on the lookout for that. Okay? And it would be nice to see if Sui could recapture the 786 retracement at $3.98, basically $4 level here. And I think if Sui gets up above $4, people are going to start pouring more money into Sui, and you might see Sui back at $4.40 here, like you saw back here in the end of July. And then who knows, maybe the bulls are able to push Sui to higher prices, and you might see that $5 level later on in the fourth quarter here for 2025. All right, we got a couple more people joining us here on the YouTube live chat here. I see Lauren. Happy Labor Day to you as well, Lauren. Happy Labor Day, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Labor Day as best as you can. I appreciate you guys coming out here and watching the live stream here during your Labor Day holidays here. And then let's see, we got Lloyd here saying good morning from Alaska. Wow. Okay. Hello. How are you doing there in Alaska? And then you're saying here that if you had a monthly income of $800 to invest, would you throw it towards crypto or would it be sticks? If crypto, would you do Bitcoin, Ethereum, or smaller altcoins? I don't give out financial advice. Okay, it would be illegal for me to give out financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor. I also don't know your personal situation. But I could tell you what I would do with, you know, $800 myself, you know, right now. You could get into crypto. Okay, just know that with crypto, we've already had some good years, a couple of good years in 2025 and 2024. Maybe not so much for some of these altcoins, because they did give back the gains that they had towards the end of 2024 here. All right, where we saw like kind of like a mini altcoin season, as you can see here with Sui. But you know, if you're inclined to try to ride out like the last wave here, I think we're gonna get one more bull run up wave to higher prices here for a lot of these altcoins and crypto. I think, yeah, starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum are always some good choices. Bitcoin has been the best performing asset in the last 15 years here since it first came out in 2009. Obviously, Bitcoin is at $108,000, $109,000 here for a reason. Okay, so Bitcoin, I would say start with Bitcoin. If you don't have any, you got to get some. Okay, that'd be a good anchor asset on your crypto portfolio, because yeah, Bitcoin does go down in price, but usually over time it just keeps going up. Okay, And sometimes it seems like it's only the Bitcoin show, because sometimes Bitcoin goes up and the altcoins don't even do anything, and they try to keep up with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin just keeps on going higher. Now, right now, lately, Bitcoin's been going sideways and down, okay? You might actually be able to scoop up some relatively cheap Bitcoin at these prices, especially if you're a long-term investor and you're in it for the long term. You know, I think 5 years from now, Bitcoin will probably be double the price, if not, at the very least, you know, it could be going to higher prices 5 years from now if you got a long-term time frame in mindset, okay? And then Ethereum is also a good one to get into. Ethereum is a good crypto. It actually made a new all-time high this year at 44,950. I think Ethereum might actually have a continuous bull run towards the end of the fourth quarter. It just takes a lot of money to move it, just like it takes a lot of money to move Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are here to stay, so those are solid assets to get into, in my opinion. And then, of course, I would say also take a look at Solana and XRP, SUI, and AVAX. Those are some of the top high market cap crypto coins. Once you get familiar with Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would say try doing your research on Solana, XRP, SUI, and Avalanche. Also, take a look at Cardano as well, and then you could also try to maybe do some research on like Aptos and Aerodrome Finance. Learn what those are about, and if you want to add that to your cryptocurrency portfolio. But yeah, continue doing the research. But I would say if you want to get involved now, stick to the higher market cap cryptocurrencies, because they're gonna actually see the money flow into them first before the smaller coins get any love and money going into them. So you're gonna probably benefit just by being in those high market cap crypto coins. And also the high market cap crypto coins, although they go significantly up and down, usually they're able to retain their value, so you're not going to be like, you know, losing 90% of your money. But you could lose 90% of your money. Just keep that in mind. We have seen Solana go up to like $260 in the last bull run in 2021, and then only for it to go down to like $8 like a year later and lose 90% of its value, and then see it go right back to $260 all over again in 2024 and 2025 here. So keep that in mind, okay? Things can still be volatile with these cryptos. We're not supposed to be one of the more mature crypto coins out there, okay? All right. All right, 51st State wants to look at Ethereum. All right, well, we just talked about Ethereum, but I guess we can go into charts for Ethereum. And then HK says long term for SUI. All right. I think I just said, you know, SUI could possibly get up to like $4 here, maybe $5 in 2025. Okay. And then we'll just have to see, you know, how SUI does after that. Longer term targets, we do have like a 3618 that says we could see almost a $10 SUI, and that would be nice because I actually own some SUI myself, and that would be a triple from where we are right now. That would be very nice to see. Okay, but yeah, there's also some more reasonable targets here, like the $5 level and the $7.84 level. That's your 2618 on SUI. All right, moving on from SUI, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum currently trading at $4,350 roughly, down slightly today, probably you know, after the beatdown that we've had the last few days with Bitcoin going down violently. You saw the same thing happen here with Ethereum. If Ethereum was to continue going down, I have identified a buy zone where I would like to buy Ethereum if I was inclined to do so. I would be interested in buying Ethereum between $3,900 to like $4,200. You see that we kind of came into that buy zone here for Ethereum that I identified around like August 19th and 20th. But we didn't stay too long because other people identified that as good areas to buy Ethereum. And we launched from there to higher prices. And of course, yeah, then we saw Ethereum make new all-time highs on Sunday, August 24th, when we got to like 4,955. Okay. But I think if Ethereum does come back into this buy zone, this you know, rectangle that I highlighted here, you know, anywhere between $3,900 to $4,200 is a pretty good area to be buying Ethereum, and we're only about like $100 away from that. Okay, but if we don't come into that buy zone, I mean, I still think this is a good area to be buying Ethereum at 4,300, because I think Ethereum wants to go up to like $5,000 and higher. Okay, I have identified a you know, this 21 EMA. We were in an uptrend, but we kind of lost it the last couple of days here, so keep that in mind. But if we were to maintain that uptrend, which we, you know, I thought we were going to do, but if we were going to maintain this uptrend and also stay above the 21 EMA, and if this 21 EMA was going to continue doing what it was doing, then I was expecting Ethereum to get up to like $5,000 by the middle of September. Like, this is like the area that I thought Ethereum would be at if it was going to continue maintaining this uptrend. I thought at the very latest we would see $5,000 Ethereum later on in September, and we might still see $5,000 Ethereum, right? We're only like, what, $700 away? I think Ethereum could probably do that like in one day, right? Like, we saw Ethereum go up like $600 here on August 22nd. If Ethereum was to do that right now, we'd be right back at all-time highs again and pushing towards $5,000. We could do that in one day. But looking at the Fibonacci for Ethereum, I have drawn out Fibonacci that I still think is still useful here. I measured from the lows where we saw Ethereum at like $1,400 back here in April to what was the high watermark here at $4,100. And the Fibonacci extensions, I think, are still useful here, where we got a 1272 that shows that about $4,800 Ethereum is probably going to be significant resistance at that area, because that was like the all-time high in the previous cycle. Okay, but if we are able to push past $4,800 Ethereum, then yeah, we could probably see the 1618 Fib extension here at $5,800 Ethereum, which is interesting. You know, I feel like, you know, I hate to say feel or feelings, but I think people might be anxious to sell their Ethereum before it gets to $6,000, and we might not actually hit $6,000 Ethereum. And I think this 1618 could actually identify that Ethereum might not get past $6,000 here. Okay, but that is a 1618 saying that Ethereum could get up to $5,800 and for some reason not actually make it to $6,000 here. Okay, but if it does get past $6,000, then yeah, there is a 2618 that says we could see an $8,500 Ethereum. And that should get you guys excited, because if we do see an $8,500 Ethereum, then that's basically a double from where we are right now. And according to the charts, the Fibonacci says it's possible. And believe it or not, there's even a 3618, $11,000 Ethereum is also a possibility here. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in 2025, or maybe it happens in 2026. But it is saying that is a possibility. Okay. But yeah, I think, you know, upside targets, we're trying to see if Ethereum can get past $5,000. Maybe that could happen this month. Downside targets, I think Ethereum, you know, you should be looking to scoop up some Ethereum if it does go below $4,000. Anywhere between $3,900 and $4,200 has been identified as a buy zone, in my opinion. All right, so that's Ethereum. Kami wants to look at HBAR. And in OTB, I see your comments. I don't know why you say you're not able to comment. I see your comment that says, why can't I comment? And then LA Dreaming says, is crypto better than stocks? I think crypto has its place, just like stocks have their place. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. Okay? There is a narrative and a belief that eventually stock market will just get put on the blockchain and everything's going to get tokenized, and crypto is the future and stocks is the past, and everything is just going to get moved from stocks over to crypto in the form of tokenization of assets here. So I don't know. I think it's good to have both, because crypto does have its bad years, and when it does have bad years, you're probably going to want to try to be invested in some, you know, good stocks out there that are doing well when crypto's having a bear market. It will feel better, you know, it will make you feel better if you're able to make money in stocks while crypto is down. So I would say have both, to be honest. No, this is not deck screener. I don't use deck screener because I'll get in trouble with TikTok if I do that. So I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I guess we can look at H bar and let's see. Is there any other requests here? I don't see any. Sui, Kami says Sui is great for making long and short traders. Yeah, Sui does have volatility. I will say that, especially to the upside. But then, yeah, Sui does kind of like slowly over time it starts losing its momentum, and you can make money going down as well on Sui. All right, let's take a look at H bar for Kami over here. And ABCD's asking me, have I heard of Morpho and base ecosystem? No, I haven't. That's new to me. Is that a request though? If it's a request, let me know if you want me to take a look at it. Right now, we're gonna look at H bar for Kami here. We're looking at H bar currently trading at 21 cents, down 1.8% today. And I got a lot of. I know I got a lot going on in the charts here, especially with the Fibonacci here. I think the Fibonacci is still useful. We're losing the 618 at 23.5 cents here, and we're coming down. We came down to the 0.5 retracement at 21.5 cents. And if H bar continues the downward price momentum, we could see, you know, H bar come down to moving averages sitting here, right below us at 19 cents and. Yeah, like we got the 200-day moving average sitting at like 19-20 cents here, which is confluent with the 0.382. So maybe that's where H bar has to go before we get support and get a reaction and try to get a bounce off this level here, off the 200-day moving average and off the 0.382 retracement. Interesting. Okay. All right. It would be hard for H bar to go lower than that because you do have those moving averages acting as support. I would think, you know, the bulls will start to show up when we see a 19 cent H bar here. Okay, but if we do lose the moving averages here, there could be some more support at the 0.236 level here at 16, almost 17 cents here. This red level here could act as support. And I think that's like kind of confluent with where people were buying H bar back here in June and April of this year. I think that's your support level there for H bar. If it does go down to 17 cents, there's some support. But yeah, on the upside though, if H bar is able to catch some bids here and go to higher prices, there could be some resistance at that 786, that blue level there. 0.2 about 26.5 pennies here could be where we get some resistance for H bar. And then also, you know, there'd probably be some resistance here at 30 cents, which is the top that we saw back here in July. We saw H bar get as high as 30 cents, about 30.5 cents before we got rejected. Okay, but to the upside, going past 30 cents, yeah, you got the 1272 that says maybe H bar can get up to like 35 cents, and then also the 1618, maybe H bar can get up to 41 cents. And if it does that, you know, I would sell, right? Because it's basically a double from where you are right now if we do get up to 41 cents here. All right. Okay, let's see. Crypto Tolan is asking, can you still do a 5x with H bar? I think you can get a double out of it if you're spot trading it. Maybe we could see H bar get up to like 40 cents here. But 5x, I think you're pushing your luck. All right, because like back here in January, we saw H bar up as high as like 41 cents. Okay. It'd be probably, if you're looking for 5x, I would say, you know, maybe consider doing leverage trading and just do a 5x long on H bar. Okay. Just keep in mind that this, you know, H bar could come down to the 200-day moving average, and you might lose a little bit more on your long. So maybe if you see H bar at like 19-20 cents here, you can put your stop loss below the moving averages at like 18 cents. Hopefully you don't get stopped out, and then yeah, if if H bar does go to higher prices, and it goes up to 40 cents, right? With a 5x leverage. Let's just measure that out, right? From where we are right now, going to 40 pennies here. That's going to be a double, right? Roughly a double, like a 90% gain. But then slap on 5x leverage and you'll have, you know, 500% instead of 94%. And then you can get your 5x just doing that. All right, ABCD wants me to look at Morpho. Okay. Yep. Oh, you are new to crypto, new to trading. Well, I'm glad you're here to learn as much as you can about cryptocurrency and the charts here. Appreciate you coming on to the live. Don't forget to hit the like if you haven't already, and consider subscribing and following me on TikTok here. I got the Meet Damien channel here. I already see I got a few people that already started following me, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Sean and Crypto Lynn, for following me here. Joining the 5,000, I think it should be 5,300. Let me just click the refresh button here. But I'm trying to get up to like 10,000 followers here on TikTok. Yeah, I hit 5,300 here on TikTok. And you can also check out some of my other TikTok videos here. Okay. Where I talk about various assets, especially if they're, you know, making the news headlines. I'll talk about them as well. All right. And you can also find me on YouTube here, the Meet Damien YouTube channel. Trying to build up my following here as well. And here you can get all my videos, all my long and short form content. And I also got some tutorial videos you guys might be interested, like how to use the Fibonacci on TradingView, how to use like the volume range visual profile indicator, which I use every now and then. And then also the basics here, like how do you actually read a candlestick chart, how to read the RSI, the MACD, and the stochastic RSI. I got some good tutorial videos in there for you to check out on the Meet Damien YouTube channel. Alright, going back into the charts here. I like using the volume profile indicator, right? Every now and then. It's a good indicator to throw on. Let me see if I'm gonna have to probably get rid of this for now, but you know, I can throw on the VRVP and it tells me some good levels to look for here. When I turn on the VRVP, I look for that point of control. That blue line here is your highest volume node. That's going to give you your support or your resistant. And because we're above that POC right now, I would expect that POC to act as support at like 16 cents here for H bar. Okay. And then also it kind of helps me identify where there's no support and no price action. When you get these gaps in the in between the high volume nodes here, it lets me know that the price can move very fast between those gaps here. Okay, so yeah, check out the volume range visual profile indicator video to learn more about it and how to use it and how to trade it. All right. Oh, appreciate you, CryptoLyn, for checking me out on YouTube and subscribing over there. Thank you. Yeah, I got a TikTok and a YouTube channel here, and I go live on both of them for both of my audiences on both platforms here. All right, so we did have a request for Morpho. We'll take a look at Morpho, and I think that's it as of now for the request. All right, let's take a look at Morpho if I can find it. Morpho looks like I can find it, and it's on Binance and Coinbase. Let's take a look at it on Binance. Usually Binance has the most data. Coinbase is good too, but usually Binance gets cryptocurrency coins before Coinbase does. Coinbase is usually the last one. So I like to look at stuff on Binance whenever I can, if it's available. All right. Yeah, I got the VRVP indicator here for Morpho. Looks like Morpho has been trading for a while here. I got data going all the way back to like March of 2025. Okay, I think that's good for now. I could probably get some more data here, and that's gonna affect the VRVP. Yep. All right. So it looks like we actually started trading Morpho November of 2024 on Binance Exchange. Is when it first came in and started trading on Binance. All right. So good. We got some data here. And just looking at the VRVP, you can see that your point of control, which you should be looking at first, is at $1.35. Okay, so that's below us. If we were to come down to lower prices, you would expect at the very least a reaction and a bounce off $1.35 here. I also see a gap in the VRVP. If we lose $2, which we're kind of doing right now, but if we lose $2 here on Morpho, there's a gap in the VRVP, and it shows that there might not be support until we get down to $1.53. And I think $1.53 is also confluent with like the moving averages here. You get your 200-day at $1.58. You get your 100-day at $1.57. That red and blue line here. So yeah, looks like $1.50 is where you're gonna start getting some support here on Morpho. Let me go ahead and get rid of the VRVP for now, and I'll start to zoom in on the moving averages here. So yeah, this thing is dropping like a rock. It looks like we started dropping like a rock here on Friday, August 22nd. And it's just been red candle, red candle, red candle. You're kind of creating a very steep falling wedge, which could be bullish. It usually breaks out the upside. So that's interesting to see. But if you were to continue just dropping like a rock like you're doing, then I would expect maybe some support here at that 50-day moving average at $1.72. You know, that could act as maybe some support here. Or you end up coming down to the 200-day, and I would think the 200-day definitely should act as support at $1.58. But man, you would think you would at least get some relief here. Like every day has been a red day ever since August 23rd here. That sucks. That hurts. If you're in it, I feel your pain, right? But maybe the pain might be coming to an end here soon. Okay. So yeah, I can see right now you're in a very steep falling wedge. Right, as I can try to connect the lows here. And yeah, it's not, it hurts with this falling wedge to the downside. But falling wedges, they usually break out to the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce off the 50-day and we go right back up to $2.50 or $2.70 here for Morpho. I see John316 is in the YouTube live chat here. Good to see you. You want me to take a look at ZBCN? Okay. And yeah, listen to John. He says smash the like button. Go ahead and smash that like button, guys. Alright. Falling wedge on Morpho. Could break out to the upside. Keep that in mind. Or, yeah, I mean, we could just continue going down and not actually get some support until we get to the 50-day moving average. Alright, I guess I could just do a Fibonacci here for you real quick. From the swing high to the swing low. Yeah, looks like the 0.236 is saying right now there should be some support at $1.87 for Morpho. You're already at that level right now. And yeah, I would expect if this thing was to catch some bids and go to higher prices, I'm expecting, you know, to get up to at least the 618 here at $2.37, $2.41, that golden pocket level. And then, I don't know, it might get rejected and come back down again. But I think, you know, if you're trying to get in on a quick day trade or swing trade here, you could buy now here at $1.86 and try to push this long up to $2.40. And if you do that, you know, you got a measured move here, just going up to that Fibonacci level, about 28% upside. Slap on some 10x leverage, that's like a 280% gain. I think anybody would enjoy that if they could. You know, 280% would be nice. But yeah, 28% to the upside if you just get right back to that 618 Fibonacci golden pocket level there. Alright, so I guess the next coin that we'll take a look at is ZBCN. And then Kami is asking about Nvidia. Yeah, we can take a look at Nvidia. Sure, why not? Let me look at ZBCN first, and then we'll look at Nvidia. And then gets I don't trade on BitGet, but from what I understand, they've been around for a while, so maybe they could be a trusted platform. Okay. But yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about BitGet in the news recently, so maybe you can give them a chance. But I don't use them myself, so I don't really have too much info about it. No, I haven't talked about Dogecoin yet. If that's a request, we can look at it. But let's look at ZBCN now for John 3:16 here. So we're looking at ZBCN, currently trading at 37,490. I have some Fibonacci levels for us to look for here on ZBCN. And it looks like we were trying to hold the 0.382 retracement level at 39,000, but we're losing that right now. And if we're losing that and we're going down to lower prices here, I would expect maybe the 0.236 retracement to act as support. Maybe at like 31,000. Is that what it is at? Yeah, 31,000 is the level here. And then you also have the 100-day moving average could act as support at 33,000 for ZBCN. So you got some support here. This could be where you could buy some cheaper ZBCN if you want to. Okay, and maybe we get a reaction off this to higher prices after we come down here. But you know, it's very very disconcerting that we weren't able to maintain an uptrend and do higher lows here, because now you're starting to do lower lows here on the daily time frame here. And yeah, you might end up coming down to that 100-day moving average at 33,000. You might, and that might be where you get your support. But would be even better if we just stop going down here on ZBCN and use this to launch to higher prices. And you would expect, you know, if we do go to higher prices here on ZBCN, the golden pocket level at like 51,000 should be your first target, your first take profit. And then the 786 retracement at 60,000 should still be a good level for you to try to target for a take profit. And if if we get up to 60,000, that's almost not really a double, but you're doing pretty well if you do get up to that level there. Let's see if I measure that out from where we are right now to the 786 retracement. That's about a 60% gain. And if you're a day trader, leverage trader, you can just slap on 10x leverage, and that's a 600% gain. But you would be in like a long-term kind of like swing trade using leverage to try to get that 600% gain here. Because I think it's going to take a while. You know, it's definitely going to take maybe a couple of weeks here for ZBCN to get up to that 60,000 level here. Okay, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I'm interested, John. You always ask about ZBCN. What does ZBCN do? I kind of know what Chronos does. I know you like talk about Chronos, but let me know what ZBCN does here. You always request it, and now I'm a little bit curious. What kind of problem is it trying to solve here? All right, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at another asset here. We're gonna take a look at Nvidia for Kami. And I guess we'll take a look at Dogecoin after that. Alright, and then Kami is over here saying that Blowfin and Mexi are great exchanges. I actually use Mexi myself, so I can vouch and say that Mexi, to me, seems to be a good exchange. Low trading fees, and they've been around, and they always get like some of the first cryptocurrencies, just like Binance. You know, Mexi Exchange is always one of the first ones to get a new cryptocurrency when it comes out. Alright, we're going to take a look at Nvidia now. And then we'll take a look at Dogecoin. Why am I not able to find it? There it is, Nvidia. Okay. Alright, so we got Nvidia currently trading at $174.18. What do we got here for Nvidia? I have measured a Fibonacci going down to the swing low here on April when we saw Nvidia down at, you know, at a low price of 87 bucks. And I measured the swing high where we saw Nvidia get up to like $184, and that was $184 on August 12th here. So I got you know, I got this Fibonacci for us to use here. Nvidia is near the highs for the year. Okay, $184 was the highest price for Nvidia this year. So it's very, very bullish, a very, very bullish asset here. And if it couldn't remain bullish but have like a minor you know, pullback or correction, then I would expect Nvidia to come down to the 786 retracement at 163 bucks, that blue level there. And I would expect it to get a bounce and never go lower than that. Okay, I think $163 is a area where you can scoop up some cheaper Nvidia if you're lucky enough to do so, and then continue riding this puppy up to higher prices. Now, I kind of was watching the 21 EMA, the exponential moving average here, this white line, and if Nvidia was to continue the uptrend, right, then I was expecting, you know, Nvidia to like eventually get up to this this green level here, this light green level at $211. That's your 1272 fib extension level there. And it looks like X marks the spot. Like if we were to maintain that uptrend, we probably could have seen a $211 Nvidia sometime in October, later on this year, in October, the middle of October. Okay. But we kind of lost the 21 EMA just a little bit, right? We lost that white line, and the white line is actually starting to curve down here. So looks like that might not be coming into fruition here for Nvidia. Looks like we're doing sideways trading for now on Nvidia. $184 is the price that we have to beat to start making new all-time highs here. But yeah, if we do go to new all-time highs, I still think $211 should be your first take profit for Nvidia. Okay, and I think downside target, you're looking for $163 if you're lucky enough to get it there. Well, who knows? Maybe we have a steeper pullback and we come down to this 50-day moving average sitting at about $146, which is where your 618 golden pocket level is sitting at. So I don't know. If we were to come down to those prices, I would probably be getting excited to buy Nvidia at 150 bucks or lower than that if I can. You got the 50-day moving average acting as confluence at the 618. So I think this is a level that a lot of professional traders and investors are looking at, and they're saying, hey, if we're bullish on Nvidia, we might be getting a nice deal. Yeah. Oh, is that what ZBCN does, John? I think you might have told me this before. It does payroll. That's interesting. So payroll on the blockchain, ZBCN. If it does that and it's able to make money, then I think ZBCN is going to be around for a while. Yeah. So that might be worth getting into. Yeah. But it's not trading on, I don't think it's trading on Coinbase yet. So it doesn't have, I mean, that could mean that when it does trade on Coinbase, there'll be the Coinbase effect and it might get a pump if it does go on the Coinbase. But yeah, I think ZBCN trades on like Mexi and Binance Exchange, so those would be the areas to get it at if you're trying to buy some ZBCN. Kursing says, how do you draw trend lines and what is the time frame? Time frame, you can use any time frame, you know, to try to find a trend here. But like here we are, you know, usually I stick to the daily time frame on most assets. And I'm just gonna get rid of this for now. Yeah. So just drawing a trend line on TradingView here. I go over to where it says trend line tools, and you're looking for that trend line. You can also click alternate T to get your trend line. And usually with a trend line, you're just measuring from, like, you know, if we're trying to measure higher lows here, you go from one higher low to the next higher low, and you get your trend line. Let me go ahead and get rid of the moving averages here, but yeah, you're just connecting, you know, one higher low to the next higher low, and you can even extend it further and see if you're able to connect the other higher lows here, and you got yourself your trend line for Nvidia, right? on the daily time frame. Time frame don't really matter because you know when you zoom in, if you go into like the 1 hour time frame here, like you can still see your trend line. It still shows up even though you drew it on the daily time frame here. But now you can like kind of zoom in a little bit and see like where it's actually touching your trend line here on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So yeah, that's how you draw a trend line. All right, let's see. We got to look at something else here, right? We got to look at Dogecoin. Yep. All right. Usually I try to do these live streams for 2 hours, but I think I don't know if I got the energy to keep it going until 2 o'clock here. But and then you know if I'm not getting any requests, then there's really no reason for me to just continue on for no reason here. But yeah, we'll look at Dogecoin, and then I think we'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Bitcoin again and see how it's doing. Actually, let me just quickly peek at it. Bitcoin at 108,600. Interesting. Yeah, let me go into Bitcoin real quick here. So I have seen here on Bitcoin that we're in a broadening wedge here. I'm not interested in day trading Bitcoin until we either get to the bottom of this broadening wedge or if we get to the top. If we get to the top, like 110k Bitcoin, I'd be interested in taking a short maybe. And if we get to the bottom here at around 107k, I'd be interested in going long on Bitcoin and just trying to play, you know, bouncing between the bottom and the top of the trend lines here on this broadening wedge that Bitcoin started. Looks like we started going into this broadening wedge here on Friday. And it wasn't so obvious because we weren't sure what Bitcoin was trying to do. But when Bitcoin did this last night, you know, in the morning, early morning hours, and we bounced off and we violently came up to the upside here, I was like, all right, yep, all right, I see what Bitcoin is doing. We're in a broadening wedge here on Bitcoin. And all this is doing is, this is just showing that there's a lot of volatility out there with Bitcoin and probably crypto in general. But the broadening wedge could also signify that we're probably doing a trend reversal. And maybe Bitcoin might be going down, might be done going down for now. And we might actually start seeing a bounce to higher prices here on Bitcoin. At least that's what it implies if you, you know, if you read up on what a broadening formation is like here on Investopedia and what it signifies. It could signify that there is a you know, that there could be a trend reversal here. Okay. But yeah, if you get a chance, look at Investopedia and read about what is a broadening formation and how to trade it. Okay. And you can learn more about these chart patterns here on Investopedia. All right, Investopedia. But yeah, that's what I see with Bitcoin right now. Let's go into Dogecoin real quick, and then we can always go back into Bitcoin again. Dogecoin currently trading at 21 cents. Let me get into the daily time frame here. Adjust the chart a little bit. I do have a Fibonacci for us to look for here on Dogecoin. Looks like Dogecoin is trying to maintain the 0.5 retracement. That 0.5 retracement's at 21.5 cents. We're kind of losing it right now, and if we do go to lower prices, I would expect maybe at 0.32 retracement could hold as support at about 0.198 pennies. Basically 20 pennies is a psychological level for a lot of investors out there where they might say, all right, I'm willing to take a chance on Dogecoin. It's at 20 cents, and they'll try to ride it up to higher prices. You know, for those who just want to do quick math, they could be like, I'm going to buy Dogecoin at 20 cents. I'm going to sell it when it gets to 30 or 40 cents. And if it gets to 40 cents, then yeah, you'll see Dogecoin, you double your money here with Dogecoin, right? But yeah, that's what I see with Dogecoin. You know, it's just trying to maintain 21.5 cents, but looks like we could come down to 20 cents. Let me turn on the moving averages now and see what the moving averages are doing. You got a lot of your moving average support here around the 20-cent level, so I'm expecting 20 cents to be like pretty crucial level for us to hold here for Dogecoin. And if not, I mean, it's gonna suck. You know, if we lose the 200-day moving average, then I have to start being bearish on Dogecoin. And it's saying that, you know, we could maybe get some support at 17.5 cents here. That 0.236 level at 0.117 pennies here could act as support for Dogecoin if we do go to the lower prices there. But going up, you know, if we are able to catch some bids here, I would expect some resistance just out of nowhere at like 25 cents, like we saw here back here on August 14th. Dogecoin came up to 25 cents, and it didn't do it for longer than one day before we got rejected and came down to lower prices here for Dogecoin. I'm expecting 25 cents to act as a rejection again if we do get to 25 cents. And of course, you know, we'll have to see if, you know, if Dogecoin is able to make it past 28 cents here, like we saw back here on July 21st. Okay. But yeah, I think those are the levels to be looking for here for Dogecoin, in my opinion. All right. Looks like we're getting a trade raid. We got Trade Intuition in the live stream, YouTube live stream here. He must have just got done with his live stream himself. Me and Joe, Trade Intuition here, we've been going live like almost the same time slot here. But yeah, it's good to see that he's able to come check me out here. I see Dylan's in the chat, I see Dutchy, and I see Crypto Changed Me is in here as well. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to Joe here, and then I'll give a shout out to Crypto Changed Me because I actually subscribed to his channel as well. Let's take a look at well, there's me on YouTube there. Let's take a look at Trade Intuition. And this Trade Intuition, he's another YouTuber, big on YouTube, trying to build up his following on TikTok. You should go check him out on TikTok if you can. Give him a follow from my TikTok guys. But yeah, Trade Intuition, he is on YouTube. He goes live 12 p.m. Eastern time. Same time slot as I do. So if for some reason I'm not here, guys, you can get your TA from Trade Intuition as well, and he can answer your questions about crypto. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, he also goes live around 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. But yeah, this is another guy for you to learn more about crypto and technical analysis here. And I like to send people his way, especially if, you know, if I have an off day, if I'm not here, and you guys still want to look at crypto, this could be your guy right here. And then another person who's kind of new to the game, I'm going to see if I could find him here. Yeah, Crypto Changed Me. I watched some of his videos. He's a good guy to learn more about crypto as well. Small following right now, but he's building it up, and I think he'll get a big following at some point soon, especially if he keeps cranking out the good technical analysis here. But you can see he's done some videos here about Chronos and Chainlink, you know, and then I don't see he hasn't done any live streams. I don't see any live streams here. But let's take a look at his videos. He does get into like in-depth analysis on some of these crypto coins, right? He did like an 11-minute video here on Chainlink. Okay, so worth checking him out. If you're looking to learn more about a particular cryptocurrency, you gotta check out Crypto Change Me. And yeah, I am subscribed. I think you guys should try to subscribe to him as well. Okay. Alrighty, those are my shout outs. Let's see. Do we have any other requests here? I think we're kind of getting towards the end of this live stream here, but I want to take a look at Bitcoin again one more time here. All right. So overall, and Joe knows this, I like to get the bigger picture and try to understand what's going on the daily time frame here, especially with Bitcoin and a lot of these assets. And what I've identified here, Trade Intuition, is I've seen us, we've been in this falling, descending channel here on Bitcoin, right? And it's been like that ever since August 14th here. But what I've also noticed, especially last night, you know, if I go in, I could probably look at it in a smaller time frame here. But we have a broadening wedge being formed, which is kind of confusing a lot of traders and investors out there as like, what the hell is Bitcoin trying to do today? Okay, you got like an indecision candle here for right now on Monday, and you know, I think that's exactly what's going on in the markets here. Is people aren't sure, like, is Bitcoin going up or is it going down? Like, make a decision here, Bitcoin, because right now it's indecision. You got an indecision candle here. You got a candle wick high, just as high as you have a candle wick low to the downside, and you got a small body. So traders, investors are like, what the hell is going on with Bitcoin? We don't even know what it wants to do today. Okay, and I think, you know, the reason why we're having such indecision is because we're getting a reversal in trend here. Although Bitcoin has been falling down since the middle of August, okay, what the broadening wedge signifies here, okay, and I might identify this on a 1 hour time frame, the broadening wedge signifies a reversal could be coming soon here for Bitcoin. Alright, and that's why there's a lot of confusion out there. You know, the longs, they're getting their stop losses taken out, and then the shorts, they're getting their stop losses taken out. Alright, and you saw that violence, that volatility here, you know, late last night going into the early morning hours, where we saw Bitcoin go as low as like 107,250, only to then like a few hours later go up to like 100, almost 110k, like a few hours later. So, I mean, there's still money to be made, and you can still play the broadening wedge if you're day trading it, right? You just buy the lows here, right? And you sell what you perceive to be the top, okay? And this thing could continue doing this until, you know, traders finally figure out that Bitcoin just wants to hang out at 108k for the most part, okay? So, like, right now, I would not be in a trade, all right? If you're day trading Bitcoin, I would just wait until it comes down to like 107k or gets below 108k. Take a long. Be careful though, because they might come and get your stop loss. Even if you put your stop loss here at 107,250, this broadening wedge, the way things are going, it could just go below 107.2k and actually go down to like 106k, only for you then to get bought back up again violently here and take you right up to like 110k. Okay, so I would, you know, I wouldn't even buy Bitcoin at 108k. I would kind of wait until like 107 comes back into play here, take a long, put my stop loss, you know, maybe down to like 105k if I can, and I would use, you know, light leverage, because you're already getting the volatility that you need to get this thing to move on you. So I would do low leverage, maybe even small margin as well, and just put my stop loss really loose and out of the way here, and then try to ride the long back up to like 110k. Then you could do a close in reverse and just short Bitcoin at 110k and just keep ping-ponging back and forth here, right? Kind of like a tennis match, you know, bing, 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 or like ping-ponging back and forth, if you guys can understand that analogy here. But yeah, I mean, I will look for shorts on Bitcoin only when Bitcoin gets up to like 109, 110k. And you have on the 1 hour time frame, which I think is a good time frame if you're day trading Bitcoin right now. I think you got your moving averages could act as resistance, like that 110.5k. That's your 200 moving average on the 1 hour time frame. That could be a good area to short Bitcoin. Also, this 100 moving average, this blue line, at 110k. So I wouldn't really be interested in shorting Bitcoin until it gets to 110k or even higher. And then I'd probably put the stop loss, if I'm shorting Bitcoin, I'd probably put it at like 111,500 or 112k if I can. And just short Bitcoin when it gets past 110k. And then long Bitcoin when it gets down to 107k. But You know, for those who don't know about the broadening wedge, eventually this is signifying a trend reversal. If you go into Investopedia here, you can learn more about broadening wedges and what they signify and how to trade it. Okay, learn more as much as you can to become a better trader by going on to Investopedia. But I think, you know, in the next few days here for Bitcoin, as I go back into the daily time frame, I think what's happening here for Bitcoin is we're just going to probably trade sideways at 107, 108K for now for Bitcoin, okay? We might go down to like 106, 105. We might then go back up to like 111 or 110K, okay? But what I see going forward for Bitcoin, I think in the next few days here, is we just go sideways. We're not going to be going down like we have been over the last couple of weeks. And I think maybe up until this Friday, we'll go sideways. And then I think this Friday, when we get the jobs report for the United States here, that's going to tell us how many jobs we added or lost in the month of August. I think that's when, you know, Friday is, you know, September 5th is when Bitcoin's going to start moving again and actually, you know, pick a direction if we're going to go up or down. But I think for now, up until Friday, I think we're going sideways here on Bitcoin. And the reason is because we already hit that 0.382 retracement at 107,798. So now bulls are stepping up to the plate, and it's getting tougher for the short sellers to actually push the price of Bitcoin down, because you have all this sideways trading action here back in June and May of this year. The people that bought Bitcoin at 107, 108K, they're just chilling. They're just like, okay, I'm just back to break even now. It's not until the short sellers and the bears are able to push Bitcoin below 107K and actually keep it below 107K that we'll actually see Bitcoin actually start going down to lower prices. And if it does, you know, we still have the 100-day moving average at $105,900 could act as support. And then we also got the 0.236 retracement at 104K. And we do have people that have bought Bitcoin at 104K back here in May. And they're just, you know, folding they're crossing their arms. And they're just like, all right, yeah, I bought Bitcoin at 104K. I'm back to break even. They're not going to click the sell button either unless the bears can push it below 104K. And then things get more scarier on Bitcoin. But I think, you know, right now, we're coming up on some support levels here for Bitcoin, and the short sellers they had a couple of good weeks here, but they're not going to be able to push the price of Bitcoin like they did the last couple of weeks. I think we're gonna just go sideways for at least a couple more days here, and then I think we'll get some direction here on Friday as like where Bitcoin is going, and then who knows? There's always news catalyst events. Right now, I know Donald Trump's tariffs are now being deemed unconstitutional, so maybe that causes the markets to actually go up in price, because now these corporations don't have to pay tariffs and consumers don't have to pay tariffs. So maybe that might give us some positive direction in the market here. But then you never know what could happen with geopolitical events here with like Russia, Iran, and China. If Trump wants to punish, Russia by doing sanctions on them and anybody who buys their oil, that could also affect the markets here too. So I just think, we'll go sideways as long as there's nothing crazy going on in the news. Just making a long story short here, okay? I'm expecting sideways trading price action for Bitcoin, which should be good for the altcoins, because that means people will probably trade the altcoins if Bitcoin's really not doing anything significant here. Trade Intuition says he's going to be lurking for a little bit. Okay, good to hear that you're actually on the live stream, and that's what you can do. You can just listen to me in the background. And then Crypto Changed Me says falling wedge, 68% chance that it breaks to the upside at some point. Yeah, I guess you could call this a falling wedge for Bitcoin, maybe on the daily time frame. To me, it looked more like a descending parallel channel here. But yeah, I could also see it possibly being a falling wedge. And yeah, falling wedges, they usually do break out to the upside. So that's the other thing that is going against the bearish case here for Bitcoin. You know, the bears, they, like I said, they had a good couple of weeks here trying to short Bitcoin. But we have a lot of support here, and then this could be a falling wedge that could break out to the upside. So I would not be trying to short Bitcoin until we actually break these moving averages to the downside. Maybe kind of get a back test, a bearish back test, and then we know for sure that, yeah, Bitcoin's going to go down. But right now, I think Bitcoin's just going to go sideways. I wouldn't say that it's going to go up violently either. But if it does, we do have the 618 at 113,000 and the 65 at 114,000. I think that's a good level if you're able to and you're inclined to do so, to take out some shorts on Bitcoin. Because it might be tough for Bitcoin to get past that level initially, until we can actually flip it from resistance into support. And then also you got the 50-day moving average above you at $111,000. $111,600 could act as resistance if Bitcoin does catch some bids here. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I would consider shorting Bitcoin as a day trader only when it gets up to like 110, 111k. And then I would also consider long in Bitcoin only when it gets down below, 107,000. Once it gets to like 107,000, I would consider going long on Bitcoin. And if it goes to like 106k, I would be like, yeah, definitely I want to try to get some longs in on Bitcoin. All right. Kursang says you use auto Fibonacci retracement on 1 hour on TradingView. Okay. And you say yours is exactly opposite Fibonacci retracement. So when I draw out my Fibonacci's, right? I know some people. Let me just get rid of this for now. I can always redraw it later. Some people measure from the low to the high, and they just literally do that when they do the Fibonacci. So if you measure from down here, from bottom to top, this is what your Fibonacci is going to look like. And your levels are going to be opposite of what I do, because I usually go from top to bottom when I measure out the Fibonacci. But when you measure it from bottom to top, you're going to get your Fibonacci levels looking like this, and then your Fibonacci extensions are going to be to the downside, okay? And I don't feel that is useful, having Fibonacci extensions to the downside, unless you're trying to short, and you're trying to figure out where your short might go. What I do when I draw out my Fibonacci is I go from top to bottom, from the swing high here to the swing low. And when I go from top to bottom, then my Fibonacci extensions are now above me, and I can figure out, how far my long can go to the upside. Like right now, this is saying that the 1272, you got a Fib extension at $131,000 Bitcoin. That's telling me that Bitcoin could go up to $131,000 before it gets rejected. And then also got the 1618 Fibonacci extension saying that, Bitcoin could go up to $140,000 and then get rejected. Okay? But yeah, I draw top to bottom so I can get the Fib extensions to the upside here, and that helps me out when I'm trying to do a long on whatever asset that I'm looking at. Yeah, I usually measure top to bottom when I do the Fibonacci, or like you said, up to down. Yeah, that's how I do it. But if I'm shorting it, I will do the opposite, right? I will. If I'm shorting, if I'm looking for a short, I will actually measure from bottom to top, and then I get the Fibonacci extensions to the downside, helping me figure out, if I'm shorting Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin could probably go down to like $91,000, or it could go down to $82,000 using the Fibonacci extensions. I hope that helps you out. And yeah, you can measure Fibonacci either way. It doesn't matter. Top to bottom, bottom to top. I just think you got to figure out which way you want to measure it. Because if you want to get the Fibonacci extensions to show up, you want them to show up, if to the upside if you're doing a long, and you want your Fibonacci extensions to show to the downside if you're trying to do a short. That's how I do it. I'm glad I was able to help you understand there, Kursang. Yep. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this live stream. I got some things I need to do. All right, I gotta eat some lunch, and I think we had a pretty good live stream. We talked about a lot of assets here. We did a little bit of education on the Fibonacci. I think we had a pretty good stream so far. But yeah, guys, I think overall, Bitcoin just gonna go sideways for now. It's gonna frustrate the crap out of a lot of people. They're not sure if it's going to be bullish or bearish for Bitcoin, and I don't think we're gonna get some resolution until like Friday when we get the jobs report. That should actually move the markets pretty significantly, because that's going to help determine if the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates or keep them where they're at. At least that's my opinion. But yeah, that's going to be it. And you're welcome for the TA. I'm glad you were able to come into the live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same time. Okay? Take care, guys.